I'm obsessed, guys, with Raya and the Last Dragon. Y'all, I loved this movie. Hey guys, what's going on? So today we are talking about every single thing that I watched in the month of March. So the month of March was a pretty strange month in my opinion. I did not watch much TV. Most of my movies were they consisted of like stuff I watched for film class, as well as some chaotic South by Southwest watches, and that's pretty much it. So let's jump right into it. We're gonna start with movies. So I'm gonna start out with movies that I watched in my film class. I'm currently taking a like introduction to cinema history in college, and pretty much the majority of what we do is just watch movies, and we've been going from the start of film, the start of it all happening in the early 1900s to present day. I'd say we're at right about the 50s, that time-ish, 1959, 1960. I think that's like the year of the most recent movie we've been watching. So I'm just gonna read out the movies we've watched so far this month in March. So the movies consist of Safety Last, I'm gonna say this wrong, but Un Chien Andalou. My teacher said it when we first started watching it. I've forgotten how she pronounced it. Grand Illusion, Casablanca, Citizen Kane, Bicycle Thieves, Room at the Top, Some Like It Hot, and Breathless. So I'm just gonna preface this before I jump into my quick thoughts on the movies. I sometimes struggle with classics. There are some classics that I love, like 12 Angry Men, The Umbrellas of Cherbourg? I don't know how to say that word, but I'll put a poster up so you guys know what movie I'm talking about. Also, The Young Girls of Rochefort, another French movie by Jacques Demy. I love his musicals. Sing in the Rain, classic. It's a Wonderful Life, classic. There's a handful of classic movies I really do love. And then there's others that I just really struggle with, and so far a lot of the ones that we've watched in my film class have been ones I've struggled just with like enjoying. I said this in my February wrap up, but I totally appreciate all of these movies. They're known as classics for a reason. I just don't really enjoy them too much, but I still give them all pretty high ratings based off of just their history, based off of how much I appreciate them and how much I know that they're like marks in film history and they're important and all that stuff. But I'm not really gonna have much to say on them because it's like I just was kind of just watching it and I was like, yep, classic, but am I enjoying this? Debatable. So I'm gonna list through them one more time and I'm gonna give my ratings of them. I like how I did that in my February wrap up, so I'm gonna do that again and then I'll go into my quick thoughts on each. Safety Last, I give a 7 out of 10. Un Chien Andalou, I give a 6 out of 10. Grand Illusion, I gave a 7 out of 10. Casablanca is actually a rewatch. I'll go back into that later. That one's a 7 out of 10. Citizen Kane, that's a 7 out of 10. Bicycle Thieves, I gave a 7 out of 10. Room at the Top, I gave a 7 out of 10. Some Like It Hot, I gave an 8 out of 10. And Breathless is a 7 out of 10. So to go into my quick thoughts, Safety Last. Okay, this was near the beginning of the month, so it's gonna be a struggle for me to remember much about these. I should have taken notes or something, but Safety Last, I remember liking little bits and pieces of it, like the stunts. I'm pretty sure Safety Last, that's the one with Harold Lloyd. I liked the part that's like, you know, like the standard shot from the movie where he's like hanging from the clock. That happened in the movie, right? Let me make sure I'm not making a fool of myself right now. Okay, just looked it up. That was a scene in the movie. I was worried for a minute, like, oh my god, am I just picturing the poster and I'm imagining that was in the movie? Yes, the clock scene. I enjoyed that scene. That was fun. I don't remember anything else about the movie. Un Chien Andalou. I gotta be honest, guys, I don't remember this movie at all. It was only like 20 minutes also. I remember it being very short, and I just remember that the odd thing about it is that it's literally like plotless. Like there's not a story. but I still don't remember it. So I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch that at some point. Grand Illusion. I don't remember Grand Illusion. I feel like a failure. I can't believe, I don't know, it's just, I just don't remember Grand Illusion either. The only thing I remember about this movie in general is that it's a movie I've had on my watch list for a while now. So yeah, I had it on my watch list for a long time, and then I was planning on watching it, and then my teacher in my film class was like, oh hey, we're actually gonna watch this in class. And I was like, oh, never mind, waiting till class. Casablanca. Okay, let me talk about Casablanca for 2 seconds. I've watched Casablanca before. I watched it, I think like a year ago? Some time ago, a year and a half, something like that, and I do not enjoy Casablanca, guys. I don't know why I don't necessarily enjoy it that much. There are little scenes here and there that I do enjoy watching. Like, I like the We'll Always Have Paris scene, the Here's Looking at You kid scene. That may be the same scene, I'm blanking on it, but I like those line deliveries. I think it's really fun. I think the actors do a great job. I think it's really well made. Story seems captivating. I just am not captivated by it, but I understand why people enjoy it. And I'm hoping that the more I watch it, or when I watch it when I'm older, I will like it more, I'll enjoy it more. It's just at the stage I'm at in life, it's just not for me. Citizen Kane. Citizen Kane was a movie that I was pretty nervous to watch because it's considered like the best movie of all time, you know? And I was like, I have no idea if I'm gonna enjoy this or not, because I know some people who really enjoy it, and then I know some people who hate Citizen Kane. So I had no idea where I would fall on that spectrum. And sad to say, I was not a fan of Citizen Kane either. It was so long, and there was like a couple of parts here and there where I was like, ooh, okay. But on the whole, Citizen Kane was not my thing. But now that I've seen Citizen Kane, I'm gonna be able to watch Mank, because I feel like I could not watch Mank until I'd seen Citizen Kane. So yeah, sad to say, I was not a fan of Citizen Kane. I kind of saw it coming since I struggle with classic movies, but I know a lot of people who struggle with classic movies, so I'm not gonna feel bad about it. The thing that I just know is that I appreciate all of them, and I know how much hard work they were, and I can understand how people enjoy them, and I'm hoping as I get older I will enjoy them more as well. Bicycle Thieves was fine. It's okay. Room at the Top. There was actually a pretty good amount of solid scenes I liked in Room at the Top. I think overall it was still pretty meh for me, but I was just kind of like, okay, instead of like a okay. It's more of a okay. A little bit of a higher pitch okay for that one. Some Like It Hot. Okay, fun fact about Some Like It Hot, we were watching it in my film class as of the day of me filming this last night, and she actually only showed us half of it. And I really want to finish the movie because I'm actually pretty captivated by the plot, so that's why I give it an 8 out of 10. So I haven't finished Some Like It Hot yet, but I will be finishing it hopefully sometime within the next couple days. And same with Breathless. After she showed us half of Some Like It Hot, she went into Breathless, and then class was over, so we didn't get to finish Breathless. We'll be finishing Breathless on my next film class in the following days. So my thoughts as of what I've seen of Breathless, it's fine. I definitely appreciate the hard work that went into it. I can see how it's a classic. I think it's interesting how it was a movie that was like completely banned from the world. Let me see, am I getting that right? Was it like, it was banned from the world, or at least parts of the world. Yeah, the film that was banned for 4 years. I think that's interesting. That's fun. That's a fun little piece of trivia. But other than that, pretty much my same opinion as most of the other classics on this list. It was fine for me, at least the half we've seen. You never know, second half of it may get amazing to me when we finish it, and if so, in my April wrap-up, I will mention the movie again to talk about my updated thoughts, if there are any updated thoughts. So that's all for the classic movies that I watched in my film class this month. Let's now go into the movies I watched for South by Southwest. So this is the first year that I actually got to watch stuff for South by Southwest. Since I'm in college, I was able to get a student discount, and since it was online this year, I didn't have to go anywhere. But here's the kind of unfortunate thing about South by Southwest. At the time of the week of South by Southwest, I was incredibly busy despite it being right around the time of my spring break. I think it was actually the week after my spring break, I believe. So I was incredibly busy with a lot of stuff. So I did not get to like register for all of the movies that I wanted to watch. And then the 3 that I did register for, I was like timed down to the minute. I was watching them on the last day I had access to them. And it was so stressful because then the day of, literally the last day I had to watch them. Sorry if you can hear my cat playing in the background. She's playing. I don't want to stop her. You're gonna hear her in the background. Anyways, on that last day that I had to watch the 3 movies, I forgot. I was doing other stuff and I forgot about them until I think it was 10 p.m. at night, or maybe 9 p.m. like 8, somewhere between 8 and 10 p.m. I remembered, and I had it, like on the little like thing, it said I had until 1 a.m. and I was like, oh my god, I need to watch 3 movies right now. So so here are the 3 movies. Let me just name them out right now. It's R#J, or like I was calling it R and J. I didn't even notice that it wasn't an and sign, it's a hashtag. So R#J, Recovery, and Gaia. Okay, so I watched R#J first. I don't know why I chose that one first. I think it's because it was the story I was most familiar with. You know, it's Romeo and Juliet, but all through modern iPhone stuff, Instagram, social media, text messages, stuff like that. I actually enjoyed R#J, you know? I got to finish that one and I really liked some of the stylistic points. I don't know. I saw a lot of people not like the movie. I really enjoyed it. Romeo and Juliet is not my favorite William Shakespeare play. My favorite is Macbeth, but I've been in Romeo and Juliet, and then I've seen Romeo and Juliet multiple times like on stage, and then I've obviously seen the movies. So yeah, very familiar with the story. I really kind of liked how they did it. I'm just like, there's a couple of scenes in there, some of like the scenes near like the end. I don't want to get too spoiler into it, even though I know that probably none of y'all have seen it unless you saw it at South by Southwest, or if you saw it at, I think it was Sundance. I think it was also at Sundance. But I don't know, there was just some really beautiful, whenever they went away from the stuff through social media, like when we weren't seeing screens, but when we were seeing like their like footage that they recorded of like Romeo or Juliet, of like themselves. Like there's this one scene and I think they were on like a roof or something, and the sunset, and it was, and Juliet, the girl who played Juliet, was so good. All of the actors I think did a fantastic job with their roles. I thought it was interesting how whenever they talked to themselves, they used the language from the play, but then whenever they like were texting each other, it was all modern language. I don't know, I really enjoyed that. I thought it was different. I liked it. I saw some people hate it. I really actually kind of liked it. So I give R#J an 8 out of 10. And now we get to my failure when it comes to South by Southwest. So by the time I finished R#J, because I was rushing and I was also slightly busy, so I was having to pause and play. I didn't get finished with it until like 11 p.m. So I had about 2 hours left, and both of the movies left were like an hour and a half each. So what I did is I was like, okay, so I know this is like a window that's gonna like, after a certain amount of time, like not let me finish it anymore. So I thought maybe if I start both of them at the same time and then have them like paused, maybe then it'll let me go back to the other one so I can finish it after I finish one of them, you know? So I did that, and then I went and I was watching Recovery. I was really enjoying, you know? It was so funny. It's the first like during the pandemic movie I've seen, and it dealt with the pandemic, and I thought it dealt with it hilariously, and it's just watching it, I was like, oh my god, within the next decade, this is probably gonna be the plot or the focal point or the theme of a solid amount of movies, is this time period we're going through right now of this pandemic. And it's gonna be, I don't know, horror movies, it's gonna be thrillers, it's gonna be some dramas set during this time, comedies, I don't know, but this is a comedy about like the very beginning of the pandemic, and these 2 girls were going to save their grandmother. They took a cross-country road trip across the country to save their grandmother from a nursing home. And it was good. Just some of the fears that so many people had at the very beginning of the pandemic, like don't touch your face, and just fear of touching anything in public if you had to go in public. all of those things they touched on in a hilarious way, and I was really, really enjoying it. And then here's where my mistake came in. I thought since, oh, well, I have recovery paused and I have Gaia paused, so surely I could go work on a puzzle for an hour and a half and it should be fine, right? No. So I went back after my puzzle, thinking I would be able to finish recovery. I was about halfway through-ish, maybe a little over halfway. It didn't let me finish it. It didn't let me finish recovery. And I should have known. I should have been smarter. I shouldn't have gone and done the puzzle. I should have waited and done the puzzle the next day. But I was just tempted and I just got started and then time just got away from me. It was an hour. I did not mean for it to be an hour and a half. It happened and I didn't get to finish recovery. So really hoping some point within this year or hopefully next year they will release recovery on some streaming service or it'll go into theaters or something so I can finish the movie, because I don't know how it ended. I'm assuming they probably got they saved the grandmother, but I want to see it happen. So then you'd think, okay, so it didn't let you finish recovery. You didn't get to watch Gaia at all, that means, right? False. It actually, for some reason, let me start watching Gaia. It didn't like cut me off like it did for recovery, despite it, I think, being past the time limit. So I was like, okay, I guess we're watching Gaia now. So I started watching Gaia, and guys, Gaia was crazy. It was so original, and it was so captivating. And then I got about halfway, and it started buffering on me and wouldn't let me play it anymore. It cut me off despite the fact that I hadn't paused it. It was playing, it was good, and it cut me off halfway through. So I've seen recovery and I've seen Gaia halfway through, and I haven't finished them, and I've only seen r#J fully. Again, just like with recovery, I'm hoping that they release Gaia in some fashion, whether it's on a streaming service or in theaters, so I get to finish it someday. Hopefully soon, hopefully within the year. I want to be able to talk about the movies in full, but it's like I didn't get to finish them. Rookie mistake of my first year at South by Southwest. I will for sure, if South by Southwest is online next year, which hope to God it's not, but if it were, I would make sure not to make that mistake again. I would make sure to register for all the movies I want to register for in time, and then I would actually watch them like on the first nights, or at least within the first couple nights of when I have access to them, and not all on the last day of South by Southwest. But South by Southwest, if everything goes right, will be in person next year. I don't know if I'll be able to go. I'd love to go, but I may be able to go, honestly. If I can still get like a student discount and then just go in person, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. That was my first year of South by Southwest story. I give recovery and Gaia, even though I didn't get to finish them, I felt like I should still rate them based on what I saw, those first halves of each of them. I give them both an 8 out of 10. Maybe with that second half of recovery, that could be bumped up to a 9 out of 10. Same thing with Gaia, maybe it could be bumped up to a 9 with that second half. But based off of what I've seen, all three of my South by Southwest movies all get an 8 out of 10. Okay, let's move on to the rest of the movies that I watched in March. So the next movie that I watched in March was a rewatch, and that was Cinderella 2 Dreams Come True. So I watched this movie a handful of times when I was a child, and I really enjoyed it as a kid. I wouldn't say I enjoyed it as much now. I still think it's really cute, but in terms of the animated Cinderella movies, so like obviously the original and then this one and then the third one, Cinderella 3 A Twist in Time, I think is what it's called. This one I'd have to rank last in terms of enjoyment. It's good, it's a bunch of short stories and they're all fairly cute. I would give Cinderella 2 Dreams Come True a 7 out of 10. The next movie that I watched in March is a movie that I watched for you guys, and this is a movie that I feel like a lot of y'all are gonna judge me on my rating for, since my rating for it's higher than any of the classics I watched this month, and that's the movie Work It. I thoroughly enjoyed Work It, guys. I went into it expecting it to be bad, and in a sense, is it a quality movie? Questionable, but did I love it? Yes, I love Jordan Fisher, and I'm a huge fan of Sabrina Carpenter, and I'm a fan of Liza Koshy, and the soundtrack was so good. I loved the dance scenes. The plot is solid. I love a good dance competition. At this point, I've seen the movie 3 times now, but yeah, I watched it for y'all, and then I watched it again, and then I watched it again with my mom. So in total, I really enjoyed the movie, and it's one of those movies that I could just watch all the time, and I wouldn't get tired of it. It's just a fun movie. It's just fun. So I give Work It a 10 out of 10. I do. I can't give it anything lower than that. It's just so fun to me, and I could watch it over and over, so. The next movie I watched in March is another movie that I watched for you guys, and that is Enola Holmes. Enola Holmes was so cute. I thought Millie Bobby Brown did great. I thought the rest of the actors did a really good job. Henry Cavill was amazing, as he always is in everything, in my opinion. Yeah, I thought Enola Holmes was just a very fun, cute movie, and I would be really down if they came out with more movies. I heard they were gonna like create it into a little like Netflix franchise. That'd be fun, I think, as long as they keep it as fresh and as fun as the first one. So yeah, I would give Enola Holmes an 8 out of 10. The next movie that I watched in March is a movie that I watched in preparation of the Academy Awards, and that is Judas and the Black Messiah. Judas and the Black Messiah was really good. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed everything about it. It was really, really good. I give Judas and the Black Messiah an 8 out of 10 as well. The next movie I watched in March is another movie I watched for you guys, and that is the 2020 horror movie The Turning, based off of The Turn of the Screw. This movie was weird and crazy. I was pretty much here for it in a sense for most of the movie until the ending. The ending was weird and off, and I wasn't that much of a fan of it. I'll leave a little link, or I may have already left it, or a little card to my commentary video on the movie. It was so just weird. I understand why a lot of people gave it such low ratings. I understand why a lot of people consider it one of the worst movies or horror movies of 2020. I get it. I do. That would have been a crazy movie, I feel like, to see in theaters. And it would have been a crazy movie for me to see when it came out. I saw it after I watched Haunting of Bly Manor, so I already somewhat knew the story going in because I had seen the story portrayed in Haunting of Bly Manor. But the movie came out before The Haunting of Bly Manor, so it would have been crazy if I saw it then, having not known what the plot was. I don't know what I would have thought. I don't know if I would have enjoyed it more or if I would have hated it more. I think I would have hated it more if I didn't know the plot. Like, I think knowing what was supposed to happen or what was going to be happening from Haunting of Bly Manor, it kept me captivated in the movie because I was curious of how it's going to be different. On the whole, I give The Turning a 5 out of 10. It tried. It did. I saw the effort. It just didn't hit the mark all the way. The next movie that I watched in March is another movie I watched to prepare for the Academy Awards, and that is The Trials of the Chicago 7. Y'all, I loved this movie. I loved the writing. I really had no clue about this time in history. I never really knew about this, so it was so good. It was so fascinating. I loved it. I loved it. All of the actors did a fantastic job. I was on the edge of my seat the whole movie. It was so good. I want to watch it again before the Academy Awards, after I've hopefully watched some more in the month of April before the actual ceremony. I want to watch it again though. So good. 10 out of 10 in my book. And the next movie that I watched in March is another fantastic one, and that one is Raya and the Last Dragon. Raya, I've heard both. I say Raya, y'all. Okay. I was nervous going into Raya and the Last Dragon because I had seen the trailers, or I think I'd at least seen like part of the trailers, and I wasn't too impressed with them. I thought they were solid trailers, but I wasn't like fully captivated like I've been with some trailers. Like an example of a trailer I was fully captivated by, a Disney one, Frozen 2. That trailer with like Elsa and the water, and just wow. All of the Frozen 2 trailers were just top notch. Got me so invested and so excited for the movie. That didn't happen with the Raya trailers. I would watch them and I'd be like, okay. I think I was too worried it was gonna be kind of too video game-esque, if that makes sense, or too maybe Indiana Jones-esque. I can't really explain it, but because it was mainly the scene from like the opening scene in the movie, and I don't know, I was just too, I don't know, it's like, it's not like I would have hated if it was like too video game-ish or too Indiana Jones-ish. It's just, that's what I thought it was gonna be, and I wanted it, I don't know what I wanted, but I didn't know if I was gonna like that. And then we got into the movie, and we got past that scene, and we got into what the plot was, and I'm obsessed, guys, with Raya and the Last Dragon. I'm obsessed with the Awkwafina dragon. I know some people have called the dragon annoying. I personally love the dragon because I love Awkwafina. She had me dying laughing. She was so funny. And Kelly Marie Tran as Raya was outstanding. She was so good, and the plot was so good, and the characters were so good. I was sobbing at the end. Like, I didn't cry the whole movie, and then the credits rolled, and I just like sat here crying. I was so happy, and I was so emotional, and I was just mainly so happy that they just nailed it for me. I know there are some people who call the plot like not really original, like we've seen that type of plot before, and like it was overall like an average movie, and that's an opinion, and I respect it, but for me, the movie really hit the mark. I loved it. I'm so excited for there to be some Raya and the Last Dragon stuff, or like, you know, stuff incorporated into the Disney parks. I'm just ready for a new, I don't know, maybe she'll be considered one of the new Disney princesses that we'll get to meet and stuff in Disney World and in Disneyland. I'm just so excited that I loved it, because I was so nervous I wouldn't, and I want to love all the Disney movies. I don't want to go in and not like them, so that's why I was nervous. I was worried I was not gonna like it, and that's not what happened. I loved it. I loved it. I want to watch it again. 10 out of 10. I don't know if I said that already, but Raya and the Last Dragon is a 10 out of 10 for me. And the last movie that I watched in March was another movie that I watched for you guys, and that is Happy Death Day to You. Happy Death Day to You was a really solid movie. I pretty much enjoyed it just as much as I did the first one. I thought it was a really solid continuation of that story and those characters. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think for anyone who hasn't seen Happy Death Day or Happy Death Day to You, I think it'd be a really good double feature, like for like maybe movie theaters in the future or drive-in theaters. I think it'd be really fun to do both of them back to back, because that's how they work best. They literally, the second movie is a straight up continuation right from the first movie. Like, I'm talking like the next day after the first movie, I think. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed Happy Death Day to You. I would give it an 8 out of 10. That's it for movies. Let's go into TV. There's not much to talk about with TV, so let me talk about the shows I finished first. The first show I watched in March, or I finished, I think I said that, finished, watched, whatever. First one I finished was seasons 5 and 6 of Girls. I talked a lot about Girls in my February wrap-up. If you want to go hear a lot of my thoughts on kind of season 3, season 4, going into season 5, just what I was thinking. I guess I'll talk about just kind of the wrap-up of the show now. I was not expecting it to end how it ended. Remember how if you watched my February wrap-up and you watched the portion about Girls, how I was talking about I was really curious to see if the character of Hannah was going to go through some dramatic change that was going to affect her, and it was going to make her change for the better and grow and mature. It actually happened in the second half of the last season. It happened, and I wouldn't say by the end she's fully matured in a sense, but she's definitely just, a thing happened, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but it just, in that last, I'd even say 15 minutes of the show, it just kind of snapped in her of, okay, time to be an adult now. I'm no longer a young adult straight out of college, I'm an adult. Like that, you saw it hit her face within like the last shot of the show, and I was just like, oh my god. And I was just, I don't know how it ended with the 4 girls and their relationships with each other. Was not expecting that. I don't know, there was a lot about the ending where I was like, oh, okay. I don't know, I kind of liked the ending in a sense. It was just it wasn't like the wrap it up in a little bow kind of ending. It was just kind of like, it ended. Really the only one who got like a really solid finish to her story was Hannah, which makes sense because it was like about, the show on a whole was about her. All the other characters were like tier 2 down below her. So we didn't get as much of a wrap up to the stories of the other girls. We kind of got a little bit of a wrap up, but not too much. But I don't know, the whole show, kind of the theme of it has just been, it's real, it's weird, it's not perfect, it's just girls living their lives right out of college in New York City. So yeah, I just really enjoyed it. I definitely think it's a show I really needed and wanted to watch, and I didn't even really realize it when I was starting it, and I'm really glad I watched it. And to any girls in their 20s or in their late teens, people in college, right out of college, not even just girls, but also guys, if college guys, girls, anyone, literally anyone in college, out of college, I think this is the show you need to watch. It's so good. It's really good. It's really different. So yeah, I give seasons 5 and 6 of Girls and the show as a whole an A. It's not quite an A+ for me, but it's right at an A. It's solid. It's really, really good. And the other show that I finished in the month of March is the short show, what are those shows called? Limited series, that's what they're called. The limited series that came out this past year with Nick Robinson, A Teacher. I think it was an FX show. It was fine. It was, I know that there was like a movie of this story that came out in the 2000s. I've not seen the movie, but then they made it again as a TV show. I don't know if it's based on a true story or not, but it was a story. It was kind of uncomfortable at times, which it was supposed to be, and I thought Nick Robinson did a great job, and I thought they did a really good job at portraying the message that this relationship that they're showing you, this is not right, this is not correct, this is not anything that anyone should romanticize or idealize or any of those things. I think they did a good job at showing that, especially near the end of the show. So I would give A Teacher a B. It kind of got boring at times. It actually kind of got boring in those last couple of episodes. I'd say the first couple episodes were a little bit more like entertaining, like it kept me captivated in it, and then as it progressed, it kind of went a little downhill in terms of keeping me focused on it. So solid B. And that's it for shows I finished. I also started, as everyone else in the world did this month, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. At the time of filming, there's 2 episodes out. The 3rd one is coming out tonight. I've only seen the first episode. I know, I can't believe I haven't watched the 2nd episode yet. I'm going to within the next couple days. It's good so far. I'm not as enthralled by it as I was with the beginning of WandaVision, but I'm not going to compare them because they're 2 completely separate things. They're about completely separate characters. I'm just happy, again, it's another show in the MCU and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm excited to see another aspect of what happened after the snap, after the blip. And I'm a fan of Falcon and Bucky, Sam and Bucky. I'm a fan of them both as characters when they were first introduced. I thought they were great additions to the whole Avengers team. So it's been really cool getting to see them, at least as of the first episode. It was cool getting to see a little bit more backstory on them, and I'm sure, especially as the season progresses, as I watch more and more episodes, it's gonna get better and better, and we're gonna get to see even more about their characters. Because like, just think of how much people's opinions changed on Wanda and on Vision after watching WandaVision compared to people's opinions on them when they were first introduced in like Age of Ultron and stuff like that, and then in Civil War and all that stuff. Like people, just the drastic difference in the amount people cared for those 2 characters and adored them. It's crazy. So imagine how different all of our opinions could be on Sam and Bucky by the end of this show. I'm hoping that there'll be something that'll make it so I just appreciate and love those characters on a whole new level. So yeah, I'm 1 episode into that show as of right now. And also, I wanted to give progress on this because this has been a rolling saga in my wrap-up videos, and that's progress on Lovecraft Country. Guys, I have 2 episodes left in Lovecraft Country. For those of you who have maybe never tuned into one of my other wrap-up videos, I started Lovecraft Country back in October. I watched 1 episode. I thought it was solid. And then I watched a second episode in like December. And since then, I have not watched any more of the show, and that's been a mix of time and just wanting to watch other things. And it killed me because I was like, Rachel, just finish the show. It's only one season and it's good. But just stuff was just holding me off. And finally, I dived into the third episode, and I've just kept watching in this last like 4 to 5 days of March. And I'm proud to say that as of, I mean, we're in April now when I'm filming this video, but as of right now, I have 2 episodes left. Within the next probably 3 days, I will have finished those last 2 episodes, so I'll talk more about the show in April. But guys, this show is crazy. It just gets crazier every single episode. I definitely have a lot of spoilery thoughts I want to discuss and I want to talk about, but I'm gonna wait until April once I've finished the last 2 episodes, because I feel like these last 2 episodes are really gonna explain things, or they may change my thoughts on some stuff that I want to say. So I don't want to say too much now, but I'm thoroughly enjoying Lovecraft Country, guys. And that's it. All of my other shows that you guys may or may not know that I'm still watching, like Friends, Doctor Who, Jessica Jones, Ghost Adventures, Queer Eye, Mad Men, Selling New York, The Crown, all of those, still watching them. Let me just say this really quickly. I know we're kind of getting long. I've been timing myself with a stopwatch on my computer to make sure I don't go too long, because I don't want my wrap-up videos to be over an hour long. I just don't want to do that. I don't even want them to be over 40 minutes. I know we're probably going to be over 40 minutes, but as long as we're not over 50 or 55, that's where it's a solid win for me. As long as we're in that 40 to 46 minute range for this video, I'll be happy. But anyways, so I've kind of gone back and forth over my time as a person on how I watch TV shows. This is going to take only a couple seconds. Even though I'm sounding like I'm about to go into my life story, I'm not. Just hear me out. When I was a sophomore in high school, I did this thing where I started a bunch of different shows, and I got overwhelmed, and I finished none of them. I dropped all of them, and I started from scratch. So there's some shows like Shameless and like New Girl and a couple other shows where I started them then, and then I got overwhelmed by them by watching so many shows at once, and I stopped and I didn't finish any of them, and then I like started over with just one show, and I just watched one show after one show. And so then that's how I kind of did things all up until when the pandemic started. I would watch one show, I'd finish it, I'd go on to the next show, and then during the pandemic, because I was at home more, I started to get bored with that, and I wanted to start watching more shows. And over from March until July, August, September, going into October, it just kind of built up more and more, and then especially going into November and December, I just kept starting shows without having finished the others, and I thought I'd be able to handle it, and I kind of can, but also I think it's working really well with me just watching a show and finishing it, and I think I'm going to be able to minimize the amount of shows I'm watching right now. That way, I think that'll also make these videos shorter, that I'll have shows as a whole I'll be able to talk about, I think. So I think that's how I'm going to work it. So that's what I've been doing now. I'm finishing Lovecraft Country. After that, I'm looking at my list of shows right now. I have a couple shows I do want to start, and I may start those before I finish these, but I'm not going to do what I did my sophomore year in high school, where I'm going to drop any of these shows. I'm not. I'm determined to finish all of them, except Queer Eye and Sugar Rush. Those are 2 I'm still going to lengthen because I'm not in any rush to finish those. But I don't know. I may go and watch season 2 of Jessica Jones. I may go make a lot of progress on Doctor Who. I don't really know yet. I may start one of the other shows that I'm planning on starting soon. We'll just see where I get, what I'm doing. I may go watch The Crown next. After I finish Lovecraft Country. I don't know. The sky's the limit, y'all. There are so many TV shows out there in the world, and I'm fortunate that I'm able to watch them. Yeah, that's really what I have to say on that. So that's where I'm at with movies and TV shows. I feel like April's gonna be a pretty busy month. My main goal is just finish Lovecraft Country, which that's no problem. We're already 2 days into April. I guarantee by day 5 of April, I'll have it finished, maybe day 6. My big goal is just to watch as many Academy Award nominated things. We do have the nominations now for the Academy Awards. So I'm just determined to get through as many, at least of the big categories as possible, so I feel somewhat prepared for the Academy Awards. You should have seen me. The last Academy Awards, the one where Parasite won, I literally had almost seen everything. I felt like so on top of the world. I'd seen every Best Picture nominee. I'd seen everything that any actor or actress was nominated for. I'd seen half of the documentaries. I'd seen like all of the shorts. I'd seen all the animated movies. I'd seen almost all of the international movies. I was on top of it. This pandemic just screwed all that up for me. This year, I was in a rhythm the previous year of going to the theater and seeing the movies when they came to theaters and stuff, and just with how things worked out this year with the weird distribution, and I don't know, even though some movies have been way more accessible to me, I don't know, it's just maybe being at home so much and having school at home and having work at home and everything, it just kind of threw everything off in a loop. So I'm going to try the hardest I can this month to get through. I mean, we have like, I think 23 days until the Academy Awards. Surely I can get through a solid amount of movies in that amount of time, but I don't know. I have a lot of things going on this month. It's my birthday month. I'm turning 20 in 2 days, y'all. So the next time, actually, by the time this video is up, I'll be 20 years old. As of the time I'm filming this, I'm not 20 yet, but as of the time you're seeing this, I'm 20. Happy birthday to me, everyone. I'm officially no longer in the teens. I am 2 decades old. Wow. But yeah, so I guess in a month from now you'll see how I did with the Academy Awards. We'll have known what will have won Best Picture at that point. Even though I've only seen I think 2 of what's been nominated for Best Picture, maybe 3, my vote is Trial of Chicago 7 so far. That's what I think is going to win, also just from the like what I've seen people say. Some people have said it's going to be they think it's going to be Trial of Chicago 7, so that's what I'm banking on so far, but I still have so many movies to watch, so my opinion may change on what I want to win Best Picture. We will see. You will see. I will let you know in my, I always fill out a ballot myself. We'll see how well I do. I will let y'all know. I will show y'all my ballot, but yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. As of the time of filming this, we just hit 900 subscribers, which means that I am, as of right now, I'm at 914, so we are less than 100 away from 1,000, which has been a big goal of mine. I didn't expect to hit 1,000 subscribers until a year into me doing YouTube, so I wasn't expecting to get to 1,000 until October of 2021, and it is April, so it has only taken us about, I think, 5 months, October going into November, into December, January, February, March, April. Okay, we're about to be at 6 months. That's half a year. I thought it would take a full year, and we're almost at 1,000. That's crazy. Thank you to anyone who has subscribed, who has liked one of my videos, who has commented. I read all my comments. I see everything. I see the people who consistently comment in my videos, and I'm so grateful for all of you. Y'all are the best. Thank you to all my new subscribers. I hope you enjoy and stick around for the ride. I don't know what I'm saying, but yeah, thank you guys so much. Also make sure to follow me on my social media. My Instagram is @RachelRimini, my Twitter is @Rachel_Rimini, and my letterboxd, where I talk about movies all the time, even though I'm really behind on logging stuff on letterboxd, but that's just because I'm busy. I run out of time. I'm doing a lot of stuff, but I'm slowly catching up on logging things on letterboxd. But you can find me on letterboxd by just my name, Rachel Rimini. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.
Over meadows, inside sprung grass.